What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel, and also welcome to a new series that I'm calling the Yes You Can series. So specifically, I'm calling it the Yes You Can series because, well, the markets are terrible and building PCs is pretty grim. But I think there's still some hope out there based on some of the PC builds that I've done recently, and I want to share with you guys my kind of part hunting methods on how I go find these PC parts and build up these systems for still a decent value. But also, honestly, really, I just want to make this as a tool for you guys that you can go back and use and kind of use the same strategies that I use to go find these parts. And we're going to take to everything that we possibly can. eBay, Amazon, local used markets, wherever we can find the parts and get us a built PC within a target amount. Let's go. Alrighty, guys, so we are on eBay right now, and this is where we're going to start our search at least. And I like to stick with B450 motherboards when targeting kind of a lower budget. Intel, yeah, we can kind of build up a similar performance build, and if that's what you want to do, then go for it. But we're going to focus on AMD for this particular video, and the reason I kind of stick to that one is I'm trying to, keep within my budget. But also, the B450 style motherboard is just such a massively awesome price to performance board / chipset. It can handle anything from a Ryzen 3 to a Ryzen 9. So there's so much growth potential within that motherboard, and that's kind of why I wanted to stick to it. Plus, also in the recent years, AMD has been so prevalent in gaming PCs and gaming hardware that we're going to be able to much more easily find something on eBay and or any other place, say used markets or warehouse, than we would probably an Intel option. So we're going to stick with AMD for now. Let's stick with that, and let's type in B450 motherboard here in eBay. Now, the first thing here I want to do is I want to limit and put in some filters. So what I'm going to come over here and do is I'm going to change my matching to shipping price plus shipping lowest first, and I'm going to do buy it now. Yes, you could really squeeze some dollars if you try to do some bidding, but that's it's kind of a hard thing to do sometimes, and if you're really trying to get parts in the now, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that too easily. If you are patient enough and you want to bid, then go for it, but we're going to shoot for buy it now stuff. So a couple things that come up right now, we got a $49, $50 motherboard, some very generic looking stuff, but looks like just one below it here we have a Gigabyte B450 Aorus M. Okay, let's check this guy out. So this is a micro ATX board, and looks like decent heatsink and VRM configuration. This is looking to be a pretty budget board here. This looks pretty good. So one thing I want to see if it's got is a IO shield, which it's showing the IO, but no IO shield. Let's see. Now that's one thing sometimes too that sellers will indicate too that it may be missing an IO shield, but let's see what some of the description here says down below. Item is in good condition, no accessories included, no IO shield. If that's not a big deal for you, then this is actually a really good price in terms of a $50 motherboard, and this is one of the more upscale budget motherboards from Gigabyte. Pretty good buy, honestly, if that's what you're after, but I'm going to see if we can find something that's at least got an IO shield. I'm going to keep this one in mind for sure. So let's go back to our search, and we're just opening that in new windows here. So let's go on down here. Now this says $35, but a $16 shipping, so it equals about 50 bucks now. Okay, so this is a B450 DS3H board that I'm very, very familiar with using, and let's see if we got some pictures here of accessories. Now that's cool. This one shows to have an IO shield. This actually looks like it could be a brand new board possibly. Does it have the back plate that the AM4 boards normally come with? It looks like it may not. Let's see. Not seeing it there. Now that might just simply be that the guy took it out of the box. Those can be had pretty cheap too. Now if you're a builder like me, you're starting to get an abundance of these AM4 backplates, but those can be had for pretty cheap actually. So this is also a pretty good buy, but it's missing the backplate. So let's see what we got here, if it indicates what's going on. So we have this very nice Gigabyte motherboard available. It's in excellent condition. IO panel is included. Board was removed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it doesn't show that it has a backplate. That's one and only concern here. Now it may simply just be removed too. they might have, let's see if we can see anything in here. Yeah, even in the plastic wrap, you can see that there actually is missing mounting brackets from the board. That still doesn't make it a bad buy, guys. So this is where the hustle 100% comes into play. We've got a really good board, seemingly basically almost brand new in a sense, that it's in very good condition, and we've got a motherboard that we can basically go out and buy and use. Now, I'm gonna see if I can get, we're gonna give this one more attempt here, see if we can find a board that's basically got everything that we need, because you may not be a system builder and you're trying to just build a system up for the first time, and not having that AM4 bracket, well, you know, it's gonna make mounting a cooler kind of hard. Let's see what else we can find. So we've got a B450 DS3H, actually Wi-Fi. So actually a step up above some of the other boards. So let's take a look what we got. And I am seeing a mounting bracket. So the back plate is there, the IO shield is there. This person did their due diligence of including the things that we would be curious about. Some very good pictures, and yeah, these are very good close-up pictures. I think this one has me sold, guys, honestly and truly, and it's only $5 more. Let's factor this up, and we're gonna start building up a full-on parts list and see where it gets us. So I'm gonna bring up an Excel doc real quick, and we're just gonna say motherboard, $55. Now guys, obviously there is some shipping and tax involved. That varies depending on your location. You could live in completely different parts of the world or North America, where some shipping and taxes are different in different states. So we're just taking the base values, meaning that the part value that they're listing, and taking away any kind of tax or shipping costs, because that can vary. So $55. All right, so we're off to a good start. Now we need a CPU. So if we go with something like this motherboard, we really need to focus on a CPU that is within reason. And I'm thinking something along the lines of maybe a Ryzen 5 2600, maybe a 1600 AF if we can find it. Remember, we're targeting a $600 value, so we've got $550 left to spend. We're gonna go to the CPUs next, and we're gonna stick to eBay just because it's kind of universally good for everybody. Let's see if we can find a 1600 AF, because that is like kind of a golden, really sweet, cheap CPU that's out there. Now, $130 isn't bad. Let's keep this one in mind here. I'm gonna just open that in a new window. Okay, so sometimes when I'm searching for parts too, I'll see these dealers that like get their hands on just loads of CPUs, and they sell them in all different generational models, and there's this like range of price value that they put out there. So you would come in and plug in a CPU that you're looking for. So this person's saying that they got Ryzen 7 1700s, Ryzen 5 1400s, and Ryzen 5 2600s. So let's see, oh, the 2600s are starting at $143. So that's already a bust. That 1600 was going for what, $130 shipped, and it looks to have everything we need as far as the chip and the cooler and everything. Yeah, hard to settle on that. So let's go back. So as I'm scrolling down, these listings are starting to climb up quite a bit in value. I really like now, even though I didn't like it at first, the Ryzen 5 1600 AF for $130. Spending $130 on this CPU is not bad. I am curious to see though if we can find something a little bit better on, say, Amazon Warehouse. So let's jump over there real quick. All right, so we're gonna type in Amazon Warehouse. So if you guys aren't familiar with Amazon Warehouse, it is an awesome place to buy refurbished parts. It basically, what it ends up being is returns that are now marked down from their original value. Sometimes you can get them like literally brand new parts that someone maybe bought the wrong part and just returned it. Amazon marks down the price. This is a good place to be looking, but I typically try to make sure I'm selecting Amazon Warehouse in the drop down, so that way I know I'm there and I'm looking for the parts that I need. So let's type in just Ryzen 5 and see what pops up. So the top Ryzen 5 listing is a Ryzen 5 3600 XT, and that's going for $327. No way, absolutely no way that's gonna blow the budget. Let's just try to pipe in Ryzen 5 1600 just to be safe that we've done our due diligence here, not seeing anything. Okay, so let's settle here now on the Ryzen 5 for now, for the $130 mark. We might have an option to take to our local used markets to knock that price down even further, because I've bought Ryzen 1600 AS for 50-60 bucks before. That's my local used markets on a good day. Not saying that everybody can do that, but let's go in here, put in CPU, and pipe in our value of $130. Currently, we're sitting at $185. We've got a little over $400 to spend to get the entire rest of the build done. So memory is something that is very abundantly available, and we're not really probably going to find much of a deal if we're looking at the warehouse. This is one thing that I would say is safe to buy new, and the best way to really go find a price new, and I'm going to use PC Part Picker to actually just source us the best new price. So let's go here to PC Part Picker and go to System Builder, and then let's come here to memory, and we are interested in DDR4. Obviously, we're going to pipe in a speed of 3600. Let's just shoot for 3600 for now. 2x8 gig sticks. Cast latency, we want it anywhere between 16 and 18, I'd say is a good value. That's going to be basically your more standard sweet spot range. And let's do a search here. So at the lowest value here of $60, we've got T-Force Create. I'm not sure if I've heard of that model. Looks like their normal type of memory though. So that looks okay to me. DDR4, 3600, cast latency 18 though. So for a 1080p gaming machine, cast latency 18 should be pretty okay. We've got a lot of kits here and all selling for around, saying in and about 60 bucks. Now let's see what this, I'm curious, this Ripjaw series memory is. Okay, that's also a cast latency 18. I've used a lot of these before. You know, we're coming up a few dollars here, $4. The lowest price here is Amazon, and I don't see any particular problem with using this memory at all, to be flat honest with you. Amazon with memory is going to have some of your cheapest prices out there. You can take to eBay. You're going to end up probably potentially even paying more, because it's kind of that fine line of where people want to try to make some money back on their original investment, and they probably ended up paying more for their memory back in the time that they bought it. Now they're selling it. For an example, we can go to eBay and do the same thing and just see. Let's just check, right? Doesn't hurt to check. We got this Crucial Ballistics. Yeah, we're the bare minimum cheapest price is $75, and then it's just shooting up from there. So we're already in at about $15 to $20 more expensive than the Amazon stuff. This is one thing that I would definitely say is completely okay, and your best value is to buy brand new. So with that said, we're gonna add that to our list. We've found memory for $60. Now we're sitting at a total of $245. We've got storage to go after next, and storage is kind of the same story where it's so abundantly available. The prices have basically hit the lowest I've ever really honestly seen them, and that's good for us as the consumer, because now we can get something pretty cheap and brand new, which it's always really good to have storage brand new. So let's go back to PC Part Picker and pick us out some storage. And so we're going to go here, select storage, and come all the way down to the bottom. Pro tip here, we want to get an NVMe drive, and they're cheap, and we know we can get one, and we want to be running the latest generation of architecture. So let's select NVMe as yes in our filter, so that way all we're looking at is just NVMe. What that also does too is that it factors out all the M.2 SATA drives, which is basically the same form factor and can be an easy mistake for someone to make, but also factors out filters out the 2.5 inch and spinning hard drives, which we don't necessarily need right now. We are after the most performance, and we know we can get it at a good value. All right, so then next, I'm just gonna go back to my filters. Capacity, 500 gigs, honestly, is probably the sweet spot for a beginner build, because it's enough to get the OS installed 100%, and it's definitely enough to get big games installed like Modern Warfare and some of these other ones that are consuming lots of extra space, and also leave us a little bit of wiggle room. So let's go to capacity, and let's zip this down to, I'm gonna put 525 at the highest, because there are some drives that are technically rated for 512, which actually makes more sense. We're gonna just make sure we grab those and take our bottom filter up to about 400 gigs, so that way we're passing all the 256 gig drives. So we should be looking at only the 500-ish gig drives. And here we are. So first one on the list, a Western Digital Blue 500 gig drive for $43. This is a steal. Yes, it is a budget drive. Yes, it doesn't have longevity. Yes, it can be critiqued in that way, but we are on a tight budget. This is the Yes You Can series, so we want to be able to buy and get off the ground running with a gaming system. But let's go and take a look at some of our other options. Keep this one on our list for now. $43. A lot of them are basic basically in at about the same price. I've definitely used the Crucial P2 a lot in some of my other budget builds. I can basically say the same things that I did about the Western Digital drive. A cheap, awesome little budget drive, though, you know, it's about $7 more. And we're kind of just going up from there. Another good one, obviously, is the Intel P600. So all of these kind of meet that same type of bill, being that they're cheap but effective budget NVMe drives. So let's put this one on our list. This is going to be $43. We can buy it brand new, and I can assure you that you will not be able to find an NVMe drive, 500 gigs, brand new, even used, cheaper than this. If you do, tell me about it in the comments, but I'm not even gonna waste my time searching for that. And obviously, you know, saves you some time too. So let's go over to storage, pipe in our $43 amount, and where we are sitting now is $288, and we're more than halfway done. But we've got the big elephant in the room, the GPU next. I'd like to have a GPU in and abouts for about $180 to $200 at the most. $225 at our top most ceiling. With that said, there really isn't a lot of options to go for, but the best place to be looking here is you're not going to find anything new like we did with storage and RAM. Sorry, that just ain't going to happen. We're going to have to take to a used or resale site, eBay, potentially even our local markets, to find something that is going to fit the bill here. There's only a few cards really to be looking at that's going to make that happen. And I can tell you right now, don't be looking for RX series cards. You know, let me just show you. RX 570. Let me just show you. Oh, here's one for it's a fanless mining video card for $185. This one says $210. Read the description. Okay, what's the description say? Works flawlessly for mining Ethereum. So does give code 43 in Windows. Basically, it's a dead GPU in terms of, yeah, this is crazy. This is where you got to be careful. This thing is just pure junk. For some reason, well, not for some reason, but for particular reasons of mega hash reasons, the 500 series, 400 series, RX series cards are like money printing machines for miners. Even the 4 gig models, which we just looked at, they're still used for mining, and they're, I guess, somewhat profitable. So, or they're being consumed up so quickly by consumers trying to build systems, which I don't think is the case. These cards still mine well, even the 4 gig models. So they're pretty much untouchable, but there's some cards that we can get. And my experience with that is there's some good ones to get that you can still get for a good value. And that's going to be a GTX 970, potentially even a 960, or a GTX 1060, but the 3 gig variant, not the 6 gig. 6 gig is just like with these RX cards. It's money printing machine. So let's start high and let's just see what we can get for a GTX 1060, 3 gig. All right, so we're getting some HP OEM cards. Yeah, you can buy them and they'll still game. You're gonna probably have little slower clock speeds, worse power delivery, just kind of everything just really just skimp down on those cards in terms of what they have to offer, because they would go in OEM systems, so they don't want them running super hot. Stay away from them if you can, because I think if we keep scrolling, we're gonna stumble upon something a heck of a lot better. So here we go. EVGA GTX 1060 for $220. Buy it now, $220. We saw where we had basically a busted RX card that was a prayer to work in Windows. We can come down here and look at this card. Not a lot of miners are targeting these 3 gig cards because that just a little bit less VRAM, although it doesn't really matter as much for gaming, it matters a lot for mining. So they don't even look at these cards. Now, like I said, the 6 gig cards they do, so be mindful of that. Let's see, this is used. This is the only picture we got. I mean, things look okay, but I only have one picture, so that is kind of a thing that I'm aware of. Like, someone who's really trying to sell something is going to take a lot of good pictures. This user does have good ratings, so they have sold a lot of other products. Looks like they're just, they're selling lots of GPUs, and that's fine. And they have a good rating. So keep a lookout for that stuff. 5-star rating, seller, eBay. Obviously, you have some protections with your money. You got your eBay money back guarantee. If something goes wrong, eBay will help you handle that. Pay with PayPal. This person is a good, trusted seller. We're already doing pretty well, and those are the things you want to look out for. I would say this is a really good buy. $220. I've paid more than that before for a 3 gig, so not much more. This is actually pretty darn good. Let's keep that in mind and let's try to work with that. So we've got $220 at our max. $220, let's actually just see where that puts us on the tally if we spent that much money on a video card. That leaves us $92 to go find a power supply and to buy a case. That is 100% doable, 100%, because you don't have to buy a crazy case, but we want to get something that's got decent airflow in it. Honestly, working with $92, we can make that happen. Let's take to PC Part Picker one more time and see what we can get in terms of power supplies. They've definitely come down in price too, kind of like the situation with RAM and storage. So for a system that has a GTX 1060 and a Ryzen 5, we don't need a lot of power. I would say 450 watts to 500 watts, maybe pushing towards 600 watts to get a little extra wiggle room if you want to upgrade your video card to something a little bit more down the line. Power supply is obviously something that you can spend high and low on, but what you want to be careful on is spending, you know, a too little amount of money and getting a piece of junk. And let's just put in a value in terms of price that we want to be shooting for. And like I said, we had $98. I'll spend a little more on power supply than I will on case. So let's put our top end being at, say, like somewhere around $85. And our low end, I don't think makes any sense to spend anything less than like 40 bucks. So this is a very basic EVGA white unit. I wouldn't 100% recommend. Next thing we got here is, not seen this one before. This actually looks really nice. This must be a new series from Cooler Master. V3500 looks like a white series power supply as well. White series isn't bad. You're just losing efficiencies. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a lesser quality as much. I mean, yeah, it's going to be lesser quality than like a gold rated power supply or something like that, but it doesn't mean your system's going to explode. Not heard much about this unit before. Let's maybe take it up a little more if we can. Here we go. This is really good. This is fantastic, actually. A Corsair CMX. This is a white series. No, what is this? Let me check. Bronze. 80 plus bronze. Semi-modular at that. What? See, I told you the prices on this stuff are nearly just completely unbeatable. Let me give you an example. I bought this EVGA white series, where they've got like a new lineup of budget power supplies. Got this on EVGA B stock for, I think it was $20, $22. This is a great little power supply. And that could be an option for you. Definitely could be an option. That is where I would look next if you're really trying to pinch some money and go with something that's reliable, because I have the utmost respect and confidence in EVGA units, but this 650 watt power supply from Corsair is really catching my eye. I mean, $43, that's just unheard of. A 650 watt bronze supply, I feel like even just 6 months ago would have been going for like $80. So, I mean, we can't beat this. Not saying it can't be beaten. Like, we can definitely spend like $20 less, but we don't necessarily need to beat it, and this is a good unit. And that leaves us like $60, $65 in the budget to buy a pretty decent case. So let's throw this in there. We're saying it's going to be, so the cheapest price here is from Newegg, brand new. It is a rebate, so also understand that too, guys. So you get, that's also why it's kind of showing up this way, is it's a $20 rebate. That's okay. I mean, if time is not of the essence for you and you want to wait till you get your $20 rebate and apply that to your case, then you've got even more money to work with. So let's put that on our list. $44. All right, we are sitting at $552. That's a little bit higher than I wanted it to be. We need to find a case for $48. Let's see if we can do it. So let's see what we got. Let's at least start with PC Part Picker as our baseline. It's been actually pretty good for us with this in terms of starting baseline. So let's come on down here to case, and let's just put in our maximum value as 50 bucks. I'm gonna give it some wiggle room. I'm gonna put in 70, because if we need to come adjust some other things, we at least know what we're working with. Let's do 85. You're not gonna find a case under like 35 bucks. All right, here we go, here we go. Okay, what? I've used this case before. This is the Cooler Master Lite 3.1 micro ATX case. It's fitting the bill in terms of value. This case actually looks really neat. It's kind of hard to work with in terms of cable management. Actually really hard, so keep that in mind. But I think it actually looks pretty darn good. It looks really good, like lit up red, as you can see in this picture, but I'm kind of amazed we're finding this for this price. Yeah, the base price is $65. It's another promo thing, but I mean, 48 bucks. Let's look at another one just to be, you know, to kind of check all of our boxes here. Here's another one of the Cooler Q300L. Okay, actually this is a non-promo deal. So this is your flat rate. This is what it is. I think this is better in terms of transparency for you guys, that here it is. Here's a Cooler Master case on Amazon for 50 bucks, $49.99. And if we just plug that in, we'll put in 50. I think we're breaking the budget by $2. Yeah, $2, $602. I mean, okay guys, it's doable, right? So this is it, ran through real quick. Remember I mentioned there's areas where you can save money, and the big ones here, and I think those are the ones that are, well, actually there's three main areas: CPU, GPU, case depends. If you give yourself just a max ceiling of 50 bucks, then okay. Power supply, things can vary quite a bit here and there, but that's an area to pinch. We're right on the mark though. We're right at $600. We don't necessarily have to adjust anything, because honestly, the two main areas where we're gonna see an uplift in performance are CPU and GPU. And GPU, like we're kind of stuck in that situation. To get more GPU, we would have to go to probably like something like a 6 gig model GTX 1060 or a GTX 1070, or start kind of approaching some of the more modern video cards like a 1650 or a 1660, and those are way too expensive. So we're not going to be able to make much headway in a GPU area. We're definitely, if you need a pinch, we need some money for some faster RAM, then I think we can definitely afford to spend a little less on CPU if we can find something locally and try to get some better memory. Alrighty guys, so $600 parts build is now complete, and for our situation in 2022, I'd say this is a pretty solid gamer to get a good start with. But my main focus with this video was strictly to be a tool for you guys to find ways to go out and get those parts. As you saw, there's many different areas that I was looking in order to part something together to get something complete. But this series would not be complete if I did not go out and buy those parts myself and show you guys a true testament to not only can we build something for a decent price, but we got a pretty good gaming foundation. But anyway guys, let me know what you think about this series. Like I said, I want to be doing more of these, what I'm calling the Yes You Can series, meaning yes you can target a certain budget, and yes you can build a gaming PC. As you are on your way out from this video, make sure you give me a like on this video if you enjoyed this content, as it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Get subscribed to the channel if you aren't already. Thanks for tuning into this one though. I appreciate your time, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.